Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to AMANI Birth. This is the AMANI Birth in the Gambia series, and I am Aisha Al Hajar, founder of AMANI Birth. I have Sister Salama Karma with me. She is an AMANI teacher and doula, and she is here to talk to us about how we can make birth safer for women in the Gambia. It's our Saving Lives Today series, and we have Brother Sekubah with us. He's the first AMANI Birth father in the Gambia. Congratulations with your baby, and he will help us with some local language translation, inshallah. Go ahead, Salama.
All right, alhamdulillah. Thank you, Aisha. So today we wanted to talk about the role of exercise during pregnancy and during labor. What is the significance of practicing, exercises throughout your pregnancy that will help during the labor?
Well, absolutely. I think people probably have no problem understanding that birth is a very physically challenging event, right? Mm. And you need your body to be ready physically, as well as your mind mentally and your emotional state. But physically speaking, the more in shape and physically ready you are, the easier your birth is likely to be, inshallah. Mm. I want to let Brother Sekubah translate, so let's not give him too much.
Okay.
We'll do this in bits. It's hard if he has to do it at the end.
Okay.
Good. Yo ala baraka. Kami fo bi wala mo be tiam gaminka wala mo balola do koti kono mayato. Karon ko kami fo wala ngakumata balo itana parering balo deda ka pare wulu wala kuola ani hakilo fana ibaje ko kule mialan ko amange kusona ran balo fana nyanda balo bo nyoro nyanda balo de dalal kanyo ay pare wulu wala.
Okay, thank you. And the thing that I really want to say, I understand from the lifestyle in the Gambia, you actually have an advantage because you are probably much more active people than a lot of people in a Western country, for example, where we sit around a lot. So I think that you have an advantage. There's a lot of walking, probably a lot of squatting, a lot of physical demands on women, I would imagine, in the day-to-day life. So this is actually an advantage for women in your communities.
Absolutely. With the activity, like you said, the amount of walking, the amount of squatting, a lot of the housework that women do.
Yes, may Allah bless them.
Yes, I mean, and also with having, a large family, cooking, right. All this activity, it equals up to being, physical active, like throughout your pregnancy. But
yeah,
like
probably a lot stronger. Probably a lot stronger than a lot of the women that I'm begging to get up and walk. Right? Please get up and walk. Please move your body. So you're probably going into this a lot stronger. But the thing to consider is, are they keeping up with the calories needed to support the activity that they're doing, their body mass, as well as the growth of the baby? Are they? Let's let him translate that part, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay.
So, kami volen ko barin tulatar nya we de maro kele kaje ko ku yama balbo nyoto la kulu weke mili boko ika tabiro kele ka jibel ke ka mamma ke ni ajibe ko janyol ma fa wala mi dalon ko american yo wolu tumando wolu la balo nyin ibe bla kiline buga mamma mbak ko to o kumata wulu yin na kudu wala kunuma yala kudu.
Thank you. The other thing that I want to say is, with a lot of physical activity, though, oftentimes comes loss of body fluids via sweating. This is also a lack of sodium. And I think we talked about a few weeks ago the importance of staying hydrated and having, proper sodium intake for electrolyte balances of the blood. So it's important that we're looking at, we're physically active, that's great, but are we taking in the calories to support that? Are we staying hydrated enough so that we don't end up with low blood volume, which we talked about how dangerous that is? And that can lead to, dangerous postpartum hemorrhages on the back end. And are we replacing the sodium that we're losing with our sodium intake? So those are three really important pieces that go along with this built-in safety that you guys have, the physical activity, but then we need to support it with the nutrition on the back end.
Yes.
Ni tarata ile baloka ka balabo nyudo ke ka tara balabo sa ni wol tarata fo ka balo soro wala ka do ngoro mi nan ko wala be jo sela bari ko ni tarata ka fo jella da o jenyi nya do ngoro soro mi nan do ngoro kendo ka je ko ila ifota jel minna wala ifota balabo nyudo la do ko minna domoro min bo sele wala balu nyami ala ko balu min bo sen lawo noto kumata no te ko ka fo fen la mi ala ko anyanta josela.
Okay. So those are the things, another thing I want to talk about is squatting. I would imagine that they probably have squatting in their normal culture, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So this is also a blessing because squatting is the natural birth position. This is the birth position that helps the baby get out.
Yes.
So they have the strength and the stamina in their legs, I would imagine, already to squat, but they need to be squatting throughout the pregnancy, especially in the late term. And then this is a great position for them to also opt for to give birth in instead of laying on their back, which causes complications.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I'm not very sure if we have squatting in Gambia anyway, but I mean,
what squatting
is to sit on your knees like that, isn't it? Like,
well, what kind of bathrooms are we using in Gambia? Are they American style or are they hole in the floor style?
They're both.
It depends. Yeah,
it depends. Both. But would you say that more women squat when they're washing clothes, or?
Oh yeah. They be bended, yes, obviously, yes. So obviously,
but they're not. The issue is they're not doing that during their labor. Okay, during labor, you would see women walking back and forwards. But this idea of squatting while you're in labor, that's new to the Gambian. I'm quite sure when I was in the labor ward with Benjai, there were no other women squatting.
Right, and squatting is great because it helps the baby to pass through the pelvis.
Absolutely.
Walking in labor helps to get the baby into the pelvis, and squatting in labor helps to get the baby out. So we want to walk in early labor, and we want to squat in late labor.
Absolutely. Okay.
Kami wole go come ka jonko to ten wala ka sisi nyal mi yalan ko wole be dina no ni abe sero dila na ina. So akami fo akumara ni kono ma barbro ni tingo fana nata ka jonko to ka je ko ka si ka wuli ka jonko to ba ko o ka dini woni findi na kana aka silo diyala na wa ko kumata barbro ni ajibe ni ko tingo be kere Gambia ko salma ga fanya ma ko amma musu je miya kai ka jonko to ka je ko ka dini woni ka silo diyala na ba ko kumata bake.
And Aisha, you brought up an excellent point about the birthing position. I know we will discuss this more in depth in a later series, but this is something that is very rare for women to give birth in upright positions in a Gambia.
Right. I know, because there's a lot of medical influences that are not necessarily supporting normal physiology, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is where knowledge is power. We keep coming back to the same theme. Knowledge is power, and when women know what works best for their bodies, and then they stand up for their rights, then we have better outcomes.
And you often hear women say that, my baby is too big to fit. They told me my baby is too big to fit, or the baby didn't descend, the baby didn't come down. But like you said,
what position were you in? Yeah.
What position were you in? Absolutely.
Right. And if you're laying on your back, then it's very difficult for the baby to make that descent as compared to when you're upright and you're walking and then squatting.
And the use of gravity, like you said, working with our natural, physiology of our body and using the gravity, Sekubah, to help the baby to descend. We call it working with your body during labor.
Ika be volen ko ika dol moy sabu ko dimula warta dingo nyina watina ra findo man sonya bari kami ko ni be lari ko kan e balo nyi amuna ko ika silo nyi bo silo di ni wala findi oto e balo nyande tara dal to bian ko ayta lori sade ko di ni wala ji nyanya sa sonya ba ni e balo be lari ngo nyama amuna silo buka di ni wala ko le fo ko me yeta jo ika jongo to e balo tara tilindi ika de ko me ni be kamo to yala e buke la ita kamo ika jongoro le baje ko kelo tanye finde o kilimo le mo kaje ko dingo na bina ko silo diala jaje ko dingo nya se ala jinya se sonia o e ko le fo ko ku mata fana ka gulo nya ka sonia.
So I just want to to wrap up by saying that remember the law created the female body to do this. But there are things that we can do on our side to make it easier and to facilitate the process. So when we know these things, then when we know better, we can do better. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Wala ko ala so balo de dale kaje ko asen ko la se keno bal niya londo kama e ba lo ka ba sunen le kake oto londo kuma da ba ke nyin ko la kaje ko lafta milla wudo sonya ka ku so de melan ko wala mu sonyati.
So our goal is for easier births, for safer births, and we'll come back to you again next week, inshallah, with some other topics. Unless you have anything else you want to share on this topic, Salama.
Nothing to share on this topic. I just wanted to remind people to check out the other videos that we have done in the series. Please share, like the page, and if you know anyone who is expecting, who needs help with nutrition and questions of pregnancy and labor, please share our page with them and have them reach out to us, inshallah.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for your translation. May Allah bless you and your family. And Salama, thank you so much for taking this on. It's a huge project, and I really appreciate your support. May Allah guide and bless all of us and all of the women who are listening. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.